Hey guys, Bowie here, and this is things I've learned with Navi.Dendi Queen of Pain. Guys, I'm not sure you know my Reddit username or if you even follow me on Reddit, but I was trying to find someone to accompany me and make content during TI, and because you beautiful bastards supported me last year, I wanted to give away TI tickets and a flight from US or Canada to Vancouver so that the person could help me make content and attend TI as well. What happened though is that a very big friend of mine that helped me last year actually not only wants to help, he already has equipment, but at the same time I still want to give back to the community and fund someone's trip. The thing is that I don't know how to get people that really care about Dota involved or how to make the giveaway fair. Because of money restraints, I still intend on involving only US and Canada citizens, but if you have any ideas on how to run this, I'm very thorn and would appreciate any help. But going back to the game. In this game, Dendi is against the Shadow Fiend, and the secret of playing this matchup is not trying to play the CS game. Shadow Fiend is as strong as Red Eye at level 1, allowing you to easily trade hits, and that's what Dendi does. As soon as the creeps meet, note though that he gets the range CS before going for it. He closes the gap, and that play by itself has huge implications in the game. It might seem small, but with Dendi already trading that well with Shadow Fiend, Kunkka is forced to TP, which delays Shadow Fiend's levels and thus his farming speed, since he really needs level 5 to start really farming it up, and ideally level 7 to start scaling in the early game. After he gets torrented here, he feels forced to commit his tangle, and I really like that he brings himself the circlet too. A lot of players only bring themselves full items, like a full new talisman, but if you're buying the cell 50 seconds into the game and you already have gold, you might as well bring whatever extra items you can. To this point, Dendi focuses way less in CS than most players would. Note how he keeps on daggering Shadow Fiend here instead of like waiting for CS in the high ground. He has 2 range creeps anyways, and he's facing 2 heroes, so it's on his best interest to harass the Shadow Fiend first and then try to get CS after he retreats. He draws aggro afterwards, and you can see that he would rather deny from Shadow Fiend than get the CS there. Considering Dendi is against 2 heroes, he could be in his high ground trying to get some of those melee creeps, but he keeps on trying to close the gap on Shadow Fiend to use dagger. Before SF has level 2 raises, his burst potential is very mediocre, especially with the nerfs to raise, and that's how you play around a hero. By the way, when you're playing against ranged heroes, usually getting the level 2 dagger is the better option, not only because of the cast range increase, but if you think you have kill potential, which on Shadow Fiend you definitely do, the dagger does more damage over time. 1 extra point in the dagger offers 100 extra damage, while the Scream only offers 75. On top of that is more slow and less of a commitment to cast, and I really like every single detail about how Dendi plays here. Not only he fares himself a clarity, but he saves it. He decided to go on Shadow Fiend. If you rewatch, you can see Kunkka going bottom, and since Dendi has the level 3 power spike with his Tusk there, that's just an easy kill. Note how he waits Shadow Fiend committing for the attack animation for a deny before he goes with the blink, so he actually loses time retreating. He blinks out just outside of tower aggro range, and that's an easy one for down though, and he only pops the clarity afterwards, since there will be no possible way of cancelling it. Afterwards, he draws aggro and gets on the perfect equilibrium spot for this matchup. Shadow Fiend needs to either commit raises to get the CS, or walk to the river to get CS, which means that Dendi can keep on going for the same play harassing him. Shadow Fiend does get some CS, but forcing the raises is in a win by itself, because it means more resources being spent for him to farm. When he gets to level 5, he's gonna have less mana, and it also means that the lane is pushing, which means that Dendi can keep the same position as long as he tanks some creep damage. Look what he does when the creeps die. He just tanks the range creep, which is exactly what he needs to keep the lane where he wants. That's just perfect. In fact, if we go back a little bit, I'm pretty sure Dendi had kill potential or could just take SF out of the lane. The only reason he doesn't blink in like he did with Tusk there is that he has no information of where the supports are, so it's actually pretty risky when he's against a Kunkka. Because of the equilibrium, it's also easier for Tusk to get the shard blocks, and you can say that both kills were quote-unquote ganks, but Dendi played around the lane to make the ganks easier for his supports, and a huge part of this is the creep equilibrium that I've talked about. Afterwards, he gets another clarity, which will be very important in the kill he gets next. It's important to note that Quap gets another new talisman that will become a Veil afterwards. Nowadays, you either get Veil or an Aquila. Going double new talisman and not going for Veil is very slot prohibitive, so make sure to choose one of the two. The armor works wonders on Quap. The kill potential starts as he pushes the lane. First of all, killing someone right now is not only good because he will have the means to do so, but it's also catapult wave, so there's gonna be a lot of tower damage in consequence. But most players would wait for their level 6 and then jump Shadow Fiend awkwardly trying to burst him down, either getting the kill or just dying in the process. The thing is, Shadow Fiend is full HP, and with this build you're definitely not bursting him in one go, so Dendi starts going on him. Note though how he wastes the tower to aggro. daggers, closes the gap without committing blink, and that's pretty important. He screams, and as the tower aggroes the creeps, this is experience. He gets to level 6 in the fog, and the pure Shadow Fiend that feels relatively safe becomes food. It's important to see that he never committed blink for this, so he can get away even with TP rotations, and that he never right-click Shadow Fiend, which means he's also healthy enough to take the damage and not die. Just 10-10 crispy play. Note how he keeps bringing clarities, and thanks to his beautiful Doom, he also gets a double damage rune. He gets slightly greedy, wanting to regen before picking it up to have less downtime, but at the end of the day, since he's the strongest hero in the map, if Radiant tries to get it, Dendi can easily go on him since he had vision of Shadow Fiend mid, and okay, not with Kunkka there. Dendi gets overly excited and gets stuck in the trees here, but what I want you to realize is how he goes for his first Veil rotation. His Terror Blade goes a little bit too crazy in the Radiant Tower, and he falls. Dendi doesn't precast Veil before Dagger because the initial damage is actually negligible, and by waiting, he actually manages to land it on 2 heroes. And with a beautiful turn movement, he lands Sonic Wave on both heroes too. Afterwards, we see Dendi going for a beautiful triple camp stack on the Oasis, as I call it. You can check the timers yourself if you want to reproduce it. It's not that big of a deal in a game like this just because Dendi's build is very mid-game centric, but since he got some lucky spawns with no golems, he can use the Veil to farm it. At the end of the day, without Sonic Wave, he has no real means of killing Shadow Fiend right now, so spending his mana to farm camps is fine. Also note how he draws aggro first to cast Veil on more creeps, and with a beautiful scream he gets them all. He also makes sure to eliminate the small center babies for more damage, and that's a lot of golden experience actually. Afterwards, not only they kill the Witch Doctor, but an underrated play that I feel like a lot of people don't know about happens. Note that there's a couple of dead heroes on the Radiant side. Shadow Fiend is showing mid, which means that the courier is clearly being delivered to Slark. If then he blinks in to try to take it down, he might be successful, but he'll force the TP base because Slark actually has a lot of burst damage. Instead, he waits for the immunity and commits the Sonic Wave. It kills couriers since it's poor damage, and he doesn't have to deal with Slark at all. This is 900 gold divided by his teammates, which is way more than Aniki would give him, so it's definitely worth it to commit the Sonic Wave here. With his ult on cooldown, he kept using his high ground area with that Veil technique I've showed you to farm the camps, and this clip right here simplifies the need for Yield Scepter this game. You usually don't want to rush Yield Scepter on Cop because you have no armor and the item doesn't help you too much, and going BKB straight after Veil takes a long time, so you actually risk dying a lot before you complete the item, or you just end up playing too passively, wasting the potential of your hero. Kunkka is incredibly obnoxious versus Cop, so then he feels forced to not only grab the HP talent to be tankier, but also get the Yield Scepter to deal with Kunkka. Shadow Fiend is another threat just because if he goes for the Yields build, he can cancel the combo and survive, and even Slark to some extent. As soon as he respawns, they are diving his Terror Blade, and note how Dendi plays this. He doesn't instantly commit the blink, and that's especially relevant before you max the skill. Right here he can just walk and Veil scream them. Slarks commits Shadow Blade afterwards, and this is very risky. If Dendi blinks right now, he has no TP to get out, and he's most likely dead. So what he does is chase Kunkka by foot. Fortunately, the torrent combo misses and he can blink out. He doesn't back completely though. He's about to have Sonic Wave there. He knows that Slark ran bot, so he blinks aggressively on the top side of the shards. Since he's patient and knows that his team is there, he gets a 3-man Sonic Wave that ultimately kills the Slark, and he gets out there scotch-free. He's quite weak, but there's a shrine in the surroundings, so there's no need for him to go base, and we see him utilizing that creep technique again to finish his Yield Scepter. With Sonic Wave on cooldown and his mana pool depleted, he doesn't bother helping his team in this fight and just pushes the lane and tries to save mana, so he's not actually committing Scream of Pain, he's just right-clicking creeps. That's pretty important, I would say. As he TPs out, he notices that Shadowfiend has Scepter too, and since Dendi has his own and knows the Dire's top, he kinda baits Shadowfiend here. Maybe if he didn't check that Dendi has a Scepter, he can try to bait a Requiem and just dodge it with his own Scepter, but Shadowfiend just gets out. But I mean, interesting to see. He tries to engage on Slark afterwards. Note how he wastes the Dark Pact to cast Veil, but Conquerors was there waiting for him, and you can quickly see how useful Use is, while also being cheap enough so that he died just once to the enemy Conqueror. It's interesting to see that after the engagement, he waits his use cooldown, but goes back to pushing that lane. After all, he has vision of a decent amount of heroes mid, and as a co-op with this build, he would much rather TP react to an engagement than be the one looking for fights, unless he knows someone is clearly out of position, and he gets himself a TP and keeps pushing aggressively until Slark pounces top. Then he doesn't TP immediately, he makes sure to show bottom and only then TPs. He blinks aggressively here since the focus of the fight is completely elsewhere to maybe get the courier, and the fight keeps evolving. He veils, daggers, but doesn't commit other spells yet. In fact, even though he has blink ready, he just engages on Kunkka. As a co-op against that team, you need to be very careful on how you commit blink, and when everyone is grouped up, there's never a good angle to jump. He waits, he focuses Kunkka, and when he sees Slark low enough, he makes sure to scream Sonic Wave, and they clean up afterwards. I'm a big fan of Dendi's decision to go Orchid after Scepter. Without this item, it's very hard to scale harder into the late game, and while Eggs offers you more teamfight, quote unquote, you don't have the mana regen to keep the Sonic Waves going without going back to base. Orchid is also locked down versus Slark if you time it right, and even a way to cancel the X combo or the Golem. It's an overall way better item that synergizes with the attack speed talent at level 15, and we will talk more about the item. A fight starts with Doom killing Slark, and the Orchid allows him to keep following suit. Eggs might have the same result, but Sonic Wave costs a shit ton of mana, while the Orchid active cancels the Golem and it's super cheaping mana while also providing mana regen, so you're always full mana. They can keep following up thanks to Dondo's beautiful sidestep, and that's Erosion for Dire. That is clearly the Aegis hero, and watch how the fight unfolds. He knows that Kunkka is dead, Slark is still spawning, and that he has his team there. With shard blocks, there's no need to commit Sonic Wave, but with Slark respawning and him being that low, there's no point in forcing it, and he just TPs away. Not to the base, mind you. He shrines, I mean, he actually finds the luckiest regen room ever, but unfortunately doesn't spot the double damage that spawns rightly afterwards. Shadowfiend tries to man up on Dendi, and he miscalculates slightly, but he's still alive. That was pretty crispy. He still has the Aegis, and the mid push gets halted. With Dendi's BKB, they pretty much end up winning the game. A lot of the times, there's a shit ton of items viable on co-op in the late game. Sometimes, though, all you need is being able to stand your ground and win a team fight. BKB definitely gives you that. His team already offers damage and control with Doom and the Terrorblade, and they pretty much win the game. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, make sure to like it. There's no other way for me to know whether you like this particular player, the way I talked about the hero or the hero itself, so make sure to give your feedback. If you care about my life and what I do, follow me on Twitter to know more about me. If you want to see some crispy casts or me playing Dota, follow me on Twitch. I know I've been out a little bit, but I'm just fixing some stuff with my life to be able to stream more regularly. If you want some spoilers of what's going on in my life or what's the next video, Instagram is the place to go. And if you want to talk to people that care about Dota and you're a crispy boy, join our Discord channel. There's a lot of fun and cool people there. As of always, this video is sponsored by Pvgna. They have a huge library of videos with a lot of updated guides to the new patch. If you want to get better at Dota, that's definitely a resource you can use. I know a lot of people, they got a lot of MMR by just watching the videos and actually grinding the games a little bit. Thanks for watching, guys. It's a pleasure.
Worthy tribute.
middle tower is under attack! Where did Radiant's middle tower go?
Gratitude. No command over. Triple kill.
Is gone. Just a cold fog left behind.
What have we
Oh, that's nice.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower shouldn't have to take this abuse. Where did Radiant's middle tower go? Radiant's middle barracks have fallen. Radiant's top tower deserves just as much help as Bronze. Radiant's middle barracks have fallen. Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Regeneration.
double damage?
good reason. Not much good's happening to Radiant's bottom tower. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Not much good's happening to Radiant's bottom tower. Radiant's bottom tower's got problems. Radiant's bottom tower is no more. Is Radiant going to let their bottom barracks fall?
Ever so grateful.
They're attacking Radiant's bottom barracks.
Killing spree.
Radiant's bottom barracks have fallen. Radiant's top barracks have fallen. Radiant's top barracks have fallen. Dire now has mega creeps. Radiant's middle tower could use some help. Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower shouldn't have to take this abuse. Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's Ancient is under attack. Radiant's Ancient is under attack. We're just about done here.